deep dive. Today, we're strapping in, really getting into a single, pretty fascinating document. It's a critical review of the pilot episode for the 2012 TV series Revolution. Remember that one? High concept stuff.
Oh, yeah. I remember the buzz around it. Big names involved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our mission today is, well, it's to unpack the sheer pressure, the weight. When A-list talent tackles a premise that maybe feels a little familiar, we're looking at how just a few creative choices can kind of derail a huge multi-million-dollar project.
Yeah.
And we're sticking just to this review, the observations made right at the time.
And the talent was, as you said, huge. J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot, Alias, Lost, huge successes.
Right. Powerhouses. And it was created by Eric Kripke, who gave us Supernatural.
15 seasons of Supernatural.
Yeah, and then the pilot director, Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
Fresh off Iron Man, you couldn't stack the deck much higher.
No, you really couldn't. It was absolutely meant to be event television. The network, they were hungry for a massive hit. But the source material, this review, it does remind us Bad Robot wasn't like invincible. Lost was a global thing, sure. But right before Revolution, they had Alcatraz canceled. One season. Ouch.
Right. A bit of a stumble there. So this Abrams-Kripke team-up, it was supposed to be the guaranteed hit.
Huh?
And the reviewer actually asks, is this going to be this year's event TV? Or is it going to be, this year's the event?
Referencing another hyped show that just fizzled out fast.
Yeah. So the pressure was definitely on for Revolution to deliver, to actually land.
They needed it to stick.
What's really interesting, I think, is looking at that weight of expectation versus the concept itself, which was already, a big swing.
Yeah, let's quickly walk through that core concept because it's pretty dramatic. The show kicks off when literally all electricity everywhere on Earth just stops working instantly. No warning.
Total blackout. And we see it happen through Ben's eyes. He's on the phone with his brother Miles, trying to warn him, frantically downloading something onto this, mysterious USB stick.
Right.
And then, poof, darkness.
Miles sees it too, right? The lights going out, cars just stopping dead.
Yeah. And the review specifically mentions that chilling image. Planes just falling out of the sky, total chaos, no power, no idea why.
And that's the setup. Then, bam, a massive time jump.
15 years.
15 years forward. And the world is, it's completely changed. Backwards almost, like 17th century tech level in some ways. Cities are overgrown ruins. People are living in small farming communities, very post-apocalyptic, trying to show that dependency we have on power.
And Ben, the guy from the start, he's in one of these villages. Seems peaceful enough, trying to protect his family, maybe his secrets.
But of course, the peace can't last in a pilot episode.
Nope. A local militia shows up, and they're looking specifically for Ben.
His friends try to protect him. There's a struggle.
And Ben gets wounded. Looks pretty bad. Possibly fatal.
The militia leaves, but crucially, they take his son instead of him.
Which tells the audience, okay, these brothers, Ben and Miles, they're important, tied into why the power went out. Somehow. But we don't know how yet.
Classic mystery box setup.
Exactly. And that kicks off the quest. Ben's wife, his daughter, and his best friend, they have to set off on this journey. Destination, Chicago. Because that's the last place anyone saw Miles. They need to find him, warn him.
It's a very standard, very solid adventure setup for a pilot. Structure-wise, it works on paper.
And that's what makes the review's criticism so pointed. Because, the structure is fine.
But a pilot has two jobs, right? Job one, get the network to order a full season. Okay, job two, actually hook viewers, build that fan base. And the reviewer basically said it failed job two completely.
Yeah, they put it bluntly. 1 out of 2 isn't good enough. The core problem wasn't the what if the power outage idea. It was the execution. It felt, according to this review, really familiar. It didn't grab you.
And that familiarity, the comparison was right there and unavoidable at the time. The review immediately brings up Jericho, that 2006 show.
Oh, yeah, Jericho. Good call.
The parallels were, really striking. Big disaster EMP versus nukes, okay? Slightly different. But society collapses. No power. And even a subplot about mysterious figures using old tech and knowing secrets about what happened. It sounded very, very similar.
Okay, but hang on. Aren't most post-apocalyptic stories kind of familiar? The Walking Dead wasn't exactly breaking new ground conceptually. What was it specifically that Revolution, with Abrams and Kripke and Favreau, failed to do? Why didn't that pedigree lift it above the Jericho comparison, according to the reviewer?
Well, fundamentally, it didn't surprise. It didn't subvert anything. The reviewer pointed out that if you could pretty easily guess what was going to happen next, that's not great for a show built on mystery, right? Especially one planned for multiple scales.
Good point. If you spend 15 years changing the world, the story in that world should feel fresh, not like something you've seen play out already.
Exactly. The big names just couldn't paper over writing that felt predictable.
And it wasn't just the plot beats being predictable. It was the whole vibe of the episode. You mentioned Favreau directing. Blockbuster guy.
Yeah.
Defines the modern action movie feel.
Yeah.
Yet the review describes the episode as a bit flat.
That's damning for a pilot like this. And that flatness, it apparently went right down to the characters. The actors didn't have much to chew on, it seems. The characters were called overly familiar and not very well developed. Yeah. The reviewer was pretty scathing, suggesting they felt like they were pulled off some kind of writer's cliche checklist.
That phrase, character checklist, really stood out in the source. Did they give examples? Which tropes felt the most tired?
Oh, absolutely. It was the usual suspects, apparently. You had the strong-willed, determined daughter leading the quest, check. You had the cold, ruthless militia leader, basically evil with no layers,
Yeah.
check. And then the classic, the good guy sidekick, who turns out to maybe be a bad guy, but then maybe he's actually a good guy after all by the end of the hour. That kind of flip-flopping.
Ugh, yeah, that kind of writing feels lazy, doesn't it? Especially for a big-budget show. It kills any chance of complex storytelling down the line.
It really does. And it's shocking given the talent involved. But, okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty, because this is where the critique gets really specific and honestly kind of funny. The logistical problem.
Ah, yes. The props department blunder.
Pretty much. The source mentions there was a pretty good fight scene. Our heroes take on like 9 militia guys. Sounds exciting. It was apparently well staged, choreographed okay, but completely undercut by the weapons the bad guys were using.
The flintlocks. Right, this is almost the perfect symbol for the whole critique, isn't it?
Yeah.
That detail.
It really is. The reviewer just zeroes in on the absurdity of some militia members carrying single shot, black powder, flintlock rifles.
In a world 15 years after the blackout.
Exactly. It makes zero sense. Okay. The premise is no electricity. Fine. So modern guns that rely on complex manufacturing, maybe they're scarce. But why leapfrog straight past simple, reliable, non-electric things like, say, revolvers or basic repeating rifles and go straight to 18th century tech?
It's baffling. In a multi-million-dollar pilot directed by John Favreau, that kind of detail just screams oversight. Or worse, laziness.
Total immersion breaker. The reviewer points out that it was specifically the 2 worst shots in the militia who were conveniently given these ancient guns.
Although convenient.
Which meant they had to waste precious seconds reloading after every single shot.
Giving the hero a completely unearned advantage.
Precisely. It's plot armor disguised as world building. And the review nails it. The silly, illogical detail totally takes you out of the action. It's not just a costume mistake. It undermines the whole gritty, post-apocalyptic reality they're trying to sell you. If the basic rules don't make sense, why should we care?
That moment, those flintlocks, it really does crystallize that whole tension, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The massive names, Abrams, Kripke, Favreau, stumbling over something so fundamental. It shows how one seemingly small, lazy choice, maybe a prop master's decision, can just undercut everything else. All that money, all that concept, tripped up by a musket.
A detail failure that speaks volumes.
Okay, but we need the other side, right? The source material, being a review online, had a comment section. And that's where you often get the audience perspective.
Yeah, the counterpoint. And someone did chime in, someone who'd actually watched the first 5 episodes, not just the pilot.
Okay, what do they say? Still hated it?
Not exactly. They actually agreed with the reviewer on a lot of points. Yeah, the characters felt a bit thin. Yeah, the plot felt familiar. But they were still enjoying it. They were holding out hope.
Hope for what?
They felt like the writers were maybe just getting started, like they were approaching a point where they could finally break out and do something great, you know, move beyond the formulaic setup.
Interesting. So, acknowledging the flaws but willing to stick with it. Did they mention the flintlocks?
They did. They tried to defend it, suggesting maybe it was just a one-off thing in the pilot. They said other militia guys later on had more advanced weaponry.
Ah, the fan trying to patch the plot hole?
Pretty much. A small defense, maybe, but it shows that the early viewers were willing to kind of overlook those technical glitches if the core mystery was engaging enough for them.
So you see that split, right? The critic sees a fatal flaw indicating future problems.
Well, the emerging fan sees a cool idea that just needs time to, you know, find its groove.
Yeah.
Different perspectives.
So we have the harsh review, the cautious audience optimism. Where was the final verdict in the real world, according to the source?
Well, the original reviewer, based purely on the pilot, predicted cancellation. said it would be gone by the end of season 1, called it disappointing, full stop.
Ouch.
But, and this is the industry twist, the reviewer added an update later. He'd heard from somewhere that the network had actually given it a full season order, despite the pilot's perceived weaknesses.
Really? So the network saw something else? Or just had too much invested?
Probably a bit of both. Maybe internal testing was good, maybe the pedigree bought it more time, whatever the reason, the network committed. And hearing that, the reviewer actually said, okay, maybe he'd give it another go. The network's faith seemed to outweigh his own critical judgment, at least enough to reconsider.
Wow. That dynamic itself is fascinating, the critic versus the network suits versus the audience.
Definitely.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive really highlighted that friction, didn't it? Between the huge names, Abrams, Kripke, Favreau, and this premise that, while cool, felt familiar and stumbled on basic execution. Those flintlocks again. Such a specific, distracting detail that spoke volumes.
It showed that even the biggest Hollywood pedigree can't always save a project if the core logic feels shaky, or if the characters feel like copies from a checklist instead of real people.
Yeah. It makes you think, doesn't it? When you, the listener, are watching something new, especially something hyped, how much weight do you give the names behind it versus what's actually on screen in that first hour?
Especially when you remember that pilot often has that dual audience. It needs to impress the network executives just as much, maybe even more, than it impresses the viewers at home.
Right. Its primary job might just be getting bought, not necessarily being perfect television right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So it's something for you to maybe mull over next time you're checking out a big anticipated new show. Creator pedigree versus pilot execution. Where do you draw the line?